I ran my first business for 10 years and it never hit $1 million. I never made any top entrepreneur list. And when I sold it, I felt like I'd won, not because it made me rich, because it did exactly what I built it to do. Those 10 years, it supported my life. And that's the mistake I think a lot of new business owners make. They pick some random revenue goal before they ever decide what kind of life they're actually trying to fund. Hi, I'm Matt. I've spent over 25 years building companies as a serial entrepreneur and helping small business owners like you with their day-to-day operational challenges. Welcome to the channel. Quick question before we dive in. Have you ever calculated the exact amount your business needs to pay you? Not what you'd like to make, right? Millions and millions and millions, but what you actually need to support the life you want. Drop a yes or no in the comments and we can discuss it. I love having those conversations with y'all. I'm guessing most people probably haven't done that. And that's exactly the problem we're going to solve today. On Monday, I made a case that most small businesses don't generate millions, and most of them don't need to. But I left you with a question. What number does your business actually need to hit? Not the number that sounds impressive at a business party or something you just, pulled out of the sky, but the number that lets you sleep at night, the number that gives you options, the number that makes the whole thing worth doing. That's the number we're going to find today. And here's how I want you to think about this. Most business owners set revenue goals based on what they've heard. $1 million sounds good. 500,000? That sounds respectable. But those numbers didn't come from your life. They came from someone else's story. So let's build your number from the ground up. Before I show you the framework, let me tell you why I think this matters. The business I ran for 10 years was in mobile events, corporate events, colleges, private parties, that kind of thing. And we weren't some huge operation, but we also didn't need to be. I knew what the business needed to generate to give me the life I wanted. And once I hit that number, well, I guess I stopped chasing bigger for the sake of being bigger. And the reason that business worked is because I accidentally stumbled onto a framework that I still use today. I call it the 3-bucket concept. All right, bucket 1. What does it actually cost to run your life? We're talking about things like mortgage or your rent, insurance, food, transportation, your basic expenses. Add it all up and don't round it down. All right, bucket 2 is along the lines of, what does a good life look for you at this stage? Maybe it's a vacation once a year or contributing to the college fund. Maybe you want to work 4 days instead of 5 or work around your kids' schedule so you can be there for them. Assign a number to that as well. All right, bucket 3 is your buffer. And it's important to remember that business income isn't a salary. It's going to fluctuate up and down. So add 20 to 30% on top of buckets 1 and 2, and that is your real number. Remember, we're not trying to impress people. We want to know what it takes to fund your life. Getting back to my mobile events business, when I eventually sold it, the buyer wasn't getting some massive enterprise. They were getting a clean, profitable, well-run business. And I was getting my time back. And that's the deal I wanted from the very beginning. And here's the important part. I didn't stumble into that outcome. I really designed it. Before I scaled everything and before I hired anyone, I asked myself, what does this business need to be worth to keep it building? And I answered it honestly, and I built it accordingly. All right, now that we've got that number, let's talk about the practical side. Pressure test that number against 3 questions. The first question is, can this business model realistically generate the amount of money I need it to? Not in year 10, but in year 2 or maybe even year 3. And if the answer is no, well, I guess that's some clarity. All right, question 2. What does your life look like when the business reaches that number? How many hours per week of your time are you spending? How many days per week? How many customers and employees do you have? If the picture you're drawing doesn't match the life you're building, well, it might be time to resize the plan before you even build it. All right, question 3, what's the stress level required to maintain that number? Because some businesses at 300,000 in revenue are calm and manageable, while others are absolute chaos. You got to know the difference before you're inside of it and you can't get out. By the way, this conversation really started in Monday's episode. That's where I talked about why so many business owners chase revenue targets that don't actually improve their lives. If you haven't already, make sure to watch that one too. All right, let's wrap it up. Your goal shouldn't be to build the biggest business possible. Your goal is to build the right business for the life you actually want. Sometimes that might be $1 million company. Most of the time it isn't. And both of those are fine. Once you realize that, it's a pretty big deal. I mean, honestly, that's the whole game. As always, thanks for watching. If you want to see more content like this, please like and give me a subscribe. That helps me figure out the type of content you want to see and create more of it. Let me know in the comments too. I often look there for new topics and to keep these conversations going. Now, take a breath. You've got this. All right. What's next?